Some moments are so quiet that they shake the room harder than a shout ever could. This was one of those moments. A crowded restaurant, a trembling child, and a single father who spoke just 4 calm words that changed everything. No one expected kindness to show up that night. Least of all the billionaire heiress standing frozen beside the table, realizing for the first time what real power actually looks like. Before the story begins, take a second to support the channel. If stories about humanity, kindness, and quiet courage move you, subscribe to your channel name, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Now, let's begin. Mark Dalton hadn't planned on eating out that night. Money was tight, as it often was since his wife passed away 3 years earlier. Most evenings were simple mac and cheese, homework at the kitchen table, bedtime stories read with tired eyes but a full heart. But that evening was different. It was Lily's 9th birthday. She didn't ask for gifts. She didn't ask for a party. She only asked if they could go somewhere fancy just once so she could wear the blue dress her mom had bought her before she got sick. Mark said yes before he could talk himself out of it. They chose a downtown restaurant Mark had only seen through glass windows while passing by on the bus. White tablecloths, soft lighting, the kind of place where menus didn't list prices. As soon as they stepped inside, Mark felt it. The pause, the quick glances, the unspoken question, do they belong here? Lily squeezed his hand tighter. "It's okay, Daddy," she whispered. "We can leave." Mark knelt down, adjusted her cardigan, and smiled. "No," he said gently. "Tonight, we stay." They were seated at a small table near the center of the room. Lily sat straight, her feet not touching the floor, studying everything with wide eyes. Mark ordered water for himself and a lemonade for her, trying to sound confident. That's when the room subtly shifted. At the table across from them sat a young woman surrounded by attention, designers' suits, whispered conversations, a server hovering nervously. Her presence seemed to bend the air around her. Her name was Evelyn Cross. Everyone in the city knew it. 28 years old, tech empire heiress, billionaire before 30. Magazine covers called her brilliant, untouchable, intimidating. She was known for her sharp mind and sharper standards. Evelyn noticed Lily staring. At first, she ignored it. But when Lily accidentally waved, smiling without thinking, Evelyn stiffened. She didn't wave back. Instead, she looked to the server and said something quietly, her tone clipped. Moments later, the manager approached Mark's table. "I'm sorry, sir," the manager said politely but firmly. "There's been a concern raised." Mark looked up. "About what?" The manager hesitated. "Your daughter has been disruptive." Lily's smile faded instantly. "She hasn't said a word," Mark replied calmly. The manager glanced at Evelyn's table, then back at Mark. "Some guests feel uncomfortable." Mark understood immediately. This wasn't about noise, it was about presence. He felt the familiar heat of embarrassment rise in his chest, the urge to apologize, to leave quietly and spare Lily another moment of feeling like she didn't belong. Lily slid her hand into his, her eyes glassy. "I'm sorry, Daddy," she whispered. Mark stood up slowly. Every conversation around them faded. He looked at the manager, then past him, locking eyes with Evelyn Cross for the first time. And then he said it. "She's with me, not loud, not angry, just calm, steady, certain." The words landed heavier than any accusation. Evelyn froze. No one had ever spoken to her like that, not without fear, not without apology, not without something to gain. Mark continued, his voice quiet but unwavering. "My daughter lost her mother. This is her birthday dinner. She's done nothing wrong. If that makes anyone uncomfortable, well, leave. But she doesn't need to be ashamed for existing." Silence filled the room. The manager swallowed. "Sir, that wasn't—" Evelyn stood up. Her chair scraped against the floor, sharp and loud. "Wait," she said. Every eye turned to her. She walked toward Mark's table slowly, her heels clicking like punctuation marks in a sentence no one expected. She looked at Lily, really looked at her. The blue dress, the careful posture, the bravery it took for a child to walk into a room that wasn't built for her and still smile. Evelyn's voice softened, almost unfamiliar even to herself. "What's your name?" Lily hesitated, then answered, "Lily." Evelyn nodded. "Happy birthday, Lily." Then she turned to Mark. "I owe you an apology," she said. Gasps rippled through the room. "I assumed," Evelyn continued, "that this space was for people like me, and tonight you reminded me that kindness doesn't care about bank accounts." She signaled the manager, "Please bring their meals, whatever they want, it's on me." Mark shook his head instinctively. "That's not necessary." Evelyn smiled gently. "It is to me." She pulled out a chair and sat down at their table. For the next 30 minutes, the billionaire heiress didn't talk about business or money. She asked Lily about school, about her favorite books, about her mom. Mark watched as Lily slowly came back to life, laughing, telling stories, forgetting she had ever felt small. At one point, Lily leaned toward Evelyn and asked, "Are you rich?" Evelyn laughed, a real laugh. "Yes," she said, "but tonight your dad's the richest person in the room." When dessert arrived, the staff brought out a small cake with a candle. No one had ordered it. The whole restaurant clapped. Lily closed her eyes and made a wish. Later, as they prepared to leave, Evelyn stopped Mark. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" Mark asked. "For reminding me," Evelyn replied, "that kindness isn't weakness, it's courage." Mark nodded. "We all forget sometimes." Outside, Lily looked up at her dad, her hand still in his. "Daddy," she said, "that lady was nice." Mark smiled. "She learned something tonight." "So did I," Lily said. "What did you learn?" "That being kind makes you brave." Mark felt his throat tighten. Sometimes, kindness doesn't arrive with grand speeches or dramatic gestures. Sometimes it sounds like 4 calm words spoken at the right moment. "Shez with me." And maybe that's the lesson for all of us. We don't need money, status, or power to change a room. We just need the courage to stand beside someone and say, "You belong." If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness still matters. And may you carry that courage with you, into restaurants, into conversations, and into the quiet moments where it matters most. Because the world doesn't change when the powerful speak louder. It changes when ordinary people choose to be kind.